Hello and welcome to the Talking Wednesday podcast. I am Puncture41 and it's here with me is Worko. No James this week. He is busy. Don't know what he's doing. He's just
Take
busy.
a sip.
So
Shock horror. Water is wet.
Yeah. We are doing the podcast though. I hope this podcast finds you well. It's been an interesting one Wednesday related, but we'll get into that later. How's your week been, mate?
I am currently incredibly sore, like Tin Man before WD-40 level sore in the Wizard of Oz. Basically, just to let you to continue the Wizard of Oz metaphor, to let you in behind the curtain. I play cricket a lot of Saturdays, which is why there's been several instances, particularly at the start of this season. And just before it, where I've just not been on it for like 3 weeks because I've been playing cricket, and a Saturday afternoon is when these episodes get recorded. However, in this case, it's now early doors Sunday morning, which means that of course I am incredibly just sore everywhere, and my muscles and joints are all connected to my vocal cords. So sitting down and standing up is quite the fun experience. But apart from that, it's just nice to be playing cricket again after getting frozen out by my old club for 4 years for no real reason. I now know how Chris Maguire felt back in 2012. It's not fun. It really isn't fun, except a volleyball player isn't involved in the whole scenario this time round. It was just me not fitting. My face didn't fit at the old club, but I've moved clubs and I'm enjoying it a lot more now. And yes.
Wouldn't be you if you weren't throwing somebody under the bus.
No, exactly. You know what? Honestly, the way that they treated me for the last 4 years, screw him. And I could have used stronger language there, but I won't.
Yeah.
But yes. Anyway, my week's been good. How about you, Jake?
Busy. It's been very busy. It's not going to be as busy as next week. Next week's insane. I see my schedule for YouTube and streaming stuff next week, and I'm just like, why? I've already kind of. I'm nearly tempted to bought a cardboard cutout of myself and just shove it in the house so the kids remember what their dad looked like.
Cutout, like those Gordon Ramsay ones you can buy.
Yeah. Just to put it in the house so the kids remember who I am.
You know what? If you're thinking because you're thinking of merch items, aren't you? Why don't you do that? It just might be limited edition life size
because I just don't want people to remember lockdown. Do you not remember the fans with the cardboard cutout? Deck got one.
Did he? Oh my god!
Yeah, he got one done. He was actually in the thing. I think he gave it to one of his mates.
Oh wow! Do you remember?
But yeah,
I was gonna say
it's been a busy one. I've lack of sleep because I've got a teething toddler.
Oh my god, you've got a toddler. You totally never mention that, Jake. Every single week,
technically.
Yeah.
He currently teething. He's got like I think top left and tooth next to that are just starting to cut through, so he's a miserable sod. It's weird. I was talking to our lass about it. It's like basically toddlers are just what you are when you get old. Kind of thing, the grumpy old man, grumpy old woman kind of thing. Because they don't know what they want yet.
Yeah.
But the short thing. But when you're older, you know what you want, but you can't do it anymore because you're too old. So it's like it's a cat-22.
It's good that you're dealing with that in real life as well as in your comment section, because it means it's you know. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. It's been interesting. We did do this week the first inaugural, or how you say it. That's the word. Sheffield Wednesday, Talking Wednesday draft. Now, I don't know how I've done because I've probably messed up mine completely. But at the same time, it should be a lot of fun. Dexter put it on the channel. Go give it a watch. Get involved. If you want to be really involved, members is the way to get there. Become a member. Become part of the draft. I think the prize, if you win it, is some stickers or something like that. I can't remember what he said.
Eternal pride.
Special. I think he said he's doing something for the end of it, so you get a prize. So it's gonna be interesting. It was a good one actually, because we had a really good conversation about it. I may or may not have given James a bit of a leg up, and I shouldn't have done it in the competitive sense, but I was feeling generous, and by that point, I'd had a very long day and my brain wasn't working. So if you actually see me on that video, I look about as youthful as a retaining wall that's laying in that way.
Yes.
For audio,
there is a marzipan.
I made
certain little analogy, but that's not very safe for mainstream.
No,
things.
It's not.
No.
I'm sure. But yeah, it's been good. Been playing a lot of computer games. Very much hyped for the Mafia 4.
Yes.
Game. That looks awesome so far. That could be a lot of fun. But I've also hit that point where I'm needing something that's not video games. Video games? That came out wrong. Video games and content creation. So I'm looking at potentially educating myself a little bit back into a musical instrument of some sort because I need it. I need something else because I noticed over the last couple of months I've been one-track minded. And I'm now starting to feel it. I can tell I haven't stopped since the end of the season. Let's just put it that way.
Just to let you know as well, guys, listeners, viewers, you would not guess the musical instrument that Jake has and used to play a lot. And it threw when he told me about it and then actually showed me it. It threw me, and you would never guess what it is. And I think, he's just getting it right now. I think that's what he's doing off camera. He plays the violin.
Yep.
I mean, the instrument that I think that you're wanting to get is more up your aesthetic alley, I guess. But yeah, you wouldn't expect a very punk rockerish sort of looking dude to just whip out a violin and be like, "Yeah, I used to play the fiddle."
Yeah, my grandma got it into me, so it's sentimental.
Yeah.
It's sentimental stuff. She got me into it, and I haven't picked it up in ages. It's missing a string because last time Deck was here, he tried to tune it and it snapped.
Oh,
and
I remember that.
I hadn't had a chance to replace it. But yeah, it's sentimental value. I kind of want to hang it on the wall because I keep knocking it over.
Yeah. I used to play the keyboard when I was a kid, but I never.
Well, my family very musical.
Yeah.
My dad's was a music teacher. My sister plays drums, trumpet, clarinet, piano, something. Oh, just a lot of people in my family with musical backgrounds and stuff, and it's always interesting going back to like that side of thing because I ain't done it in years. So I think soon I might be changing that, and it'll be good to do so. But shall we talk about the football?
Oh God, yes.
Oh God. So Sheffield Wednesday played Leeds United on Friday night. Go on, Jack.
Well, I mean, I felt like it was quite obvious that they had a squad value of like 110 million plus versus our like 20 something million squad, which is actually, if you compare it with like last year and 2 years ago's squad value, it's gone up quite a lot, I'd say, for us anyway. But yeah, it was just reeking of like teething problems. It was so distinctly lacking in a central defensive midfielder. And then actually, I think that we need a centre half alongside Bernard who's going to marshal the defence. And I don't think Ioff was doing that. But yes, we lost 2-0. And both times it was very like horrendous defensive errors.
They're identical.
And yeah.
The two goals were identical, weren't they?
Just absolutely identical. And it was just...
The thing that annoys me is that we did what we did versus Sunderland. First 10 minutes, really good. And then that, like, 10 minutes of pressure went.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to what happened with Sunderland because it was Masaba going down the left-hand side, but not getting that final ball in.
Yeah.
He'd done all the hard work at set, get the ball in.
Yeah.
And he'd gone for, like, an extra step over, and it's like, that's not what we need.
Yeah.
And their first goal, it came... really clever, actually, when you actually think about the break. That little flick Dan James did was exactly what Windass was trying to do against Sunderland.
Yeah.
And didn't work. And if it shows you, if it pays off, it works really well. But it's the fact that how that one ball through both Iorfa and Bernard in half. And it was parting of the sea. And the thing is, even if they hadn't scored it, it would have been a penalty.
Yeah.
Because Valentine was late.
It was very late.
He did try. It was very late. And the thing is, you can't give a team like Leeds those kind of chances
because they will take
just
them.
Snap them up.
Yeah.
And we just started to be a bit on the flat foot after that. We really didn't get into it. You can tell that it's a team in transition.
Yes.
They are really trying to make this new system work. Maybe trying a little bit too hard with it, trying to get it to work. But at the same time, it's like you hope, like in the first half, you come off. I think we had a really good chance by Dominic Iorfa from a cross, and that's you're like, great, we made a chance from a cross. That's what we want when the team is this tall. But it was few and far between. I thought Ingelsson looked absolutely knackered when he came off. He was doing the job of two people.
Yeah, I thought that as well. Bannon just disappeared. Like, he was... I mean, yes, Windass, you can sort of say, had a game where he was a bit invisible, but he was still putting in a lot of decent enough crosses into the box. It kept finding their defender rather than one of our players, because none of our players bloody well got into the box very often. But Bannon just vanished. He just like sailed up the pitch into this weird little left-sided shadow striker spot, and then just didn't come back into the midfield. And so there was all these passes that like Masaba was playing to where Bannon would be in the midfield where he should have been, and it wasn't. And there was just a vacuum of nothing because Bannon had gone carousing up the bloody pitch somewhere. And
let's talk about their second goal.
Yeah,
because we were on a bit of a break, trying to go forward, and for whatever reason, Bernard and Iorfa were halfway up the pitch.
Yeah. And
I understand that's what he's trying to do, but that doesn't work. You need at least one of you to stay back.
Yeah.
At least. And it was a cracking ball through. Don't get me wrong. It was a really good through ball. And I think it was Lowe trying to get back. I can't remember who it was trying to get back to defend.
Yeah.
And
I think it was just Max Lowe on his own at the time, yeah.
And I think the little flick over by Dan James over Beadle. Beadle did come out too early and dive too early, but as a keeper, he told to come out and make it big.
He was close to stopping it, but it just...
But...
Yeah.
This is something I kind of want to think, because you look at that lineup, Valentine with the replacement, because we took out Gassama. So we had Valentine, Valerie, they're your two wing backs as such. Iorfa, Bernard. Valentine and Lowe were in there.
Yeah.
It's weird because you couldn't figure out the formation.
Yeah.
The formation was odd because I think they had it down. I think BBC had it down as like a 4-2-2-1 or something like that. It's something odd. It's one of those ones where you looked at it and you go, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have seen people go, does he revert back to what happened last season? But then I'm also like, it's 3 games in. It's 3 games in. We've
2
played
calendar weeks,
the
3 games
2.
in. Like, it's way too early to kind of go, oh, this isn't working.
Yeah, like if you look at the stats, they had 8 shots. We had 8 shots to their 13. We had 2 on target to their 9. 4 of ours was off target and 4 of theirs was off target. If you look at the actual stats on goalkeeping, we made him make 2 saves out of our 3. 14 fouls to their 10. We had more corners. More corners, and we just don't do out with it. And possession-wise, they had 68% and we had 31, which some people will say at home you don't want to have those possession stats.
Yeah.
But when they got going, they looked good. They could have had a third. They could have had a third. I think it put the expectation with the fans down a lot and people going, we're going to struggle. And I think the idea is some of them, when after that first game versus Plymouth, was, oh, we're going to storm it. And now 2 games later, it's like, let's just try and go for mid-table.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic.
I mean, as well, another point I think to consider about that Plymouth game is that Plymouth are in a similar position because Rooney is trying to change the whole way that they play and their whole team setup and structure and everything, the way they train, the way they play, the way they look tactically at games. And that's actually a similar sort of situation to what we're in. I will ask you this question, though, about this Leeds game, Jake. Which one was the bigger flop? Borderlands at the cinema or Nyonto. Every single time someone tickled his little short king armpits anywhere near the box and he flopped over. Oh no, that was just frustrating me. But it was.
I'll be honest with you though, mate. If the shoe's on the other foot, you want that kind of player in your team.
Yeah.
To kind of win those free kicks and win those set pieces.
I mean, Ugbo did actually do a similar sort of thing in their box late on in the second half.
When he came on, I won't lie. When Ugbo came on, it was good. I think when Smith and Ugbo came on, I think they did really well. Yeah. They changed it up a little bit. They made it work.
For me, you can sort of see that Ugbo's not quite ready yet. And he was doing like probably bare bones sort of fitness training at the City Group,
he did a lot of the pressing that was non-existent.
Yeah,
that's something that I also want to say. The pressing, where did it go?
I think that was a confidence thing though, because if you looked at the Plymouth game, they were doing it relentlessly when they felt confident, and then suddenly they got rattled by the first. It was the same at Sunderland. They got rattled by the first goal, and the confidence in the pressing dissolved. And then they just reverted back to let's just sit behind the ball and keep like hanging back.
It was a bit bad when you saw.
For them, it
on that.
I think for them, it's like a confident. To me, they need to sort the mental side of it out and the confident. Like, okay, we've conceded one, whatever, we'll go again. And I don't think at the minute they're doing that. I think they concede one and they're like, oh no, oh god, panic. We'll not press. We'll just sit back and get everyone behind the ball, and that way we won't hopefully concede again. But
in that team you had 4 new players. Lowe, Ingleson, Valerie, Lowe, no more, Beadle, Valerie, Lowe, Ingleson. Now Beadle, you could turn around and say not a new player, we had him last season, but it's a new
system
back lineup. It's a new back lineup. It's a new system. It's a new back 4 or back 3 or whatever you want to call it in front of him, where I'll be honest with you, I think we miss a leader at the back.
I think Iwekwe comes in for Iorfa, and I actually think that improves the composure of that back line quite a lot.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because next game, league game, Millwall, we'll talk about it in a bit. But I think if you look at this, how many points were people realistically wanting to get out the first 4 games of the season? And I think if you come away with 3, maybe a win at Millwall and a draw, 4, is that a decent-ish start considering we had Leeds potential top 2?
Yeah.
Sunderland could look like they could be top 6. And I think when we first saw the fixture announcement, I think we all went, this is a tough start.
Yeah.
And I think it just all went a bit, not to our heads. I think we managed to have that situation where we scored 4 goals, lost 4 goals, and now we're minus 2 goal difference. But it's gonna take time.
No, exactly.
Bannon, Windass, Danny has said there'll be mistakes before it gets right. But I think we need to have patience. Not get on the player back. They'll know as much of anyone that this is an issue. Like, you know who this game was screaming out for? Patterson. And we couldn't use Patterson because his missus had a baby.
Oh, congratulations. So congratulations, Callum.
Patersons. Yeah. And that's why he's not been in the squad. Which, the thing is I got with that one, does that complicate the potential of him moving? Just because maybe they just want to stay where they are and they're settled, kind of thing, while baby's little. But you don't know. It could be interesting on that one. Then that's a story for another day.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I think this game missed a Callum or someone who could get in someone's face, and we're lacking a midfield general.
Chalobah needs to be fit. Chalobah needs to get back fit as soon as possible.
Exactly. Let's go through the championship games then. 2-0 Leeds, we know that one. Hull City 0, Millwall 0. I think both of those teams haven't won a game yet.
Oh dear.
Oh god. I just realised who were playing next.
Love it.
Apparently I was doing a bit like watching the BBC, where they do the update bit. They said Millwall being very strong from set pieces, and I'm like,
oh god damn it. Yep.
Yeah. Bristol City versus Coventry 1-1. QPR 1, Plymouth 1. Plymouth went down to 9 men. An absolute rocket to the goal by Whittaker.
It was a bit lucky. I mean, it was a deflection, I think.
It was still good, though.
Still good.
Watford 2, Derby 1. The Watford goal was stunning. Blackburn Rovers.
I remember getting live updates from my teammates with that one, and it was so funny. They were like absolutely over the moon for the 1-0 in the first minute, and then they were so deflated by the end of the first innings of my cricket game. It was so funny. Anyway, sorry, Jake. Yeah.
2-1 to Blackburn Rovers versus Oxford United. 2-1 to West Brom versus Stoke. 1-0 to Preston versus Luton.
Oh, dear.
And that is new manager there, Heckingbottom's first win. That's actually a really good appointment. I think that appointment's gone under the radar of how actually smart that is.
Yeah.
That is probably actually the right person to be in that job where they need someone with a bit of experience just to take them to that next level.
Exactly.
And probably the right person. Sunderland 1, Burnley 0, and Sunderland went down to 10 men near the end. Norwich City 1, Sheffield United 1. Whatever it is, if you're going to games at minute, Portman Road and Portsmouth, not Portman Road especially, but Portsmouth are value for money. They just go goals at the minute. Apart from that Luton one, but you think of the first game versus Leeds 3-3, Middlesbrough versus Pompey 2-2. I believe this was a 96th minute Summit penalty near the end, I believe. Don't quote me on that one.
What's the penalty again? We don't get those at Hillsborough. What's one of those?
We haven't had one of them for
got over a year.
400 days. And the game today is a tasty one. It's Swansea versus Cardiff City, so it's a Welsh derby. So, you know what? Some of those games actually helped us a little bit. There's no point looking at the table.
Too early in it, really.
Days.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think we've just got to concentrate on what we're doing and see what happens. The thing is, we may have the thing where an international break actually helps us a little bit. Just get to hone things in on the training ground and fix things.
Yeah.
So let's go into the news. And starting with Bambo Diaby leaves Sheffield Wednesday. Bambo Diaby had joined Spanish side Elche on a permanent transfer for an undisclosed fee. The 26-year-old joined the Owls last summer and featured 36 times in his maiden season to help the club maintain our championship status. After playing in a 2-1 win over Hull City in the Carabao Cup, the first round last week, the centre-back now returned to his native Spain. We thank Bambo for his service and we wish him the very best of luck for the future. What do you think on this one?
That announcement video was incredible. It was it was so up his street as well because anyway. But I'm thankful for all of his efforts from last season. Admittedly, I think in a Danny system, it's quite scary. When he got on the ball, it was never a calming experience. It was always quite like anxiety ridden.
Heart in your mouth.
And yeah, it was a bit like when Reader Johnson used to get on the ball for me, where it was like, oh God, is he going to lose it? Is he going to keep it? Is he going to pull something brilliant out of absolutely nowhere? Oh no. But I'm very like he was a stalwart in that defense towards the end of last season. And I just think it was all a tactical decision, really, in terms of the system that we want to play. And I just don't think he really fits that system very well. And I just think this is what we need to do more of. If they're not going to fit the system that we want, sell them. Don't just let them hang around for no real reason with no hopes of getting in the side very often. Let them go for money, and that's what we've done here. And I think it's just a smart move, really.
I actually think it's really smart because I can't remember the last. It's been so long since we sold players.
I think the last one that I can remember a bit like this was Andre Green when we went.
We did.
We sold him to that Eastern European team.
I always forget we sold him there, and then he went to Rotherham. After that.
Wait, you mean that there's yet another Wednesday reject that's at Rotherham? Oh my God, that just adds to the list gets longer, doesn't it? Sorry. Anyway,
I think for me, this makes sense. I always felt Bambo was one of those signings that came in as an emergency because we didn't have cover anyway. But couple of times he did kind of like question. But I think we'll always remember the desire he put in versus Blackburn Rovers with that bloody nose. He was always a good character when he spoke to the press. He was always good with teammates. He was a little bit of the translator with everything that was going on. And you know what? Thank you for helping us during that season. It helped a lot having another body in the back lineup. But I think for me, we've got to start being a little bit ruthless. But if players are going out, we need to start getting the players in.
Yes.
Like, I like it where an out go, but it's then not even a day, maybe on the same day, and then in is in straight away.
Yeah.
Because we can't be left with the situation we had in January, where we let players go, and then we didn't get players in until right at the end. And the thing is, what you've got to remember with this window, you can have loans that will transform a team that are mediocre into something special. Yeah. We had that last season with Ugbo and Paveda.
Yeah.
If we're anything, we're the blueprint. As well, actually. And Beadle, yeah. If anything, we can show you we're the blueprint of that working. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But Bambo Diaby leaves Sheffield Wednesday to go elsewhere. And we've made money on him, which is a change.
That's nice, isn't it? It's a nice feeling.
Yeah. So, in the press conference, Danny spoke about Cadamartri to leave on loan. In the pre-match press conference for the league, he also said that it was likely that Cads would be leaving the club on loan. He also mentioned that Fuser would be staying around the squad to help his development. Now, this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I'm a big fan of Cadamartri going out on loan. I actually think it's the smarter move if you actually look at the bigger picture. Some people will go, why are we sending one of our best players out, like one of our 13 players who's a youngster on loan? He's not going to get the minutes here. He's not going to play week in, week out. At 19, he needs to play week in, week out, week in, week out. That'll be how he'll become a better footballer. You can't have him just come on for 20 minutes here and there.
Yeah.
It's not going to help him at all. It's looking more than likely that he's going to Lincoln, which I personally think is a really good.
They look after their loan players. They really nurture.
Look at what they did with Brendan Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
Brendan Johnson at Forest. They are well known at getting strikers or attacking players and making them good. Yeah. What do you think about this one?
I think it's ideal because now this is a name blast from the past. Do you remember when we signed Paul Corrie in midfield?
Yeah.
If we kept Cads, the exact same thing would happen to Cads that happened to Paul Corrie, where his potential and ability just gets stifled because he's just sat around not getting any opportunities really ahead of other people that are older and more experienced in the team. And Cads has come to that point where he needs that first team. You know, yes, he played a few games for us last season and did quite well, but he needs to be the star man in somebody's team now and playing week in, week out, getting hatfuls of goals, knowing what that feels like and getting more in tune with basically being a first-team starter now. And that's not what he'll get here. And to be able to develop into the future first-team starter for us one day, that's what he needs now, is to go out on loan and get that experience under his belt. Because he's got so much potential, and to not see that come to fruition for Wednesday would be an absolute crime. And I don't really understand why people are saying, why are we sending him out on loan? We should develop in here. How can he develop? He's reached the point of development from a coaching standpoint. There's only so much you can learn about in the under-21s or just being on the bench for the first team. I don't understand where people are coming from with that, because surely you'd want a player to develop, and the only way to develop is game time. And is he getting game time here? No. Would he get game time at Lincoln in League One? Yes. He'd be probably their starting striker.
Lincoln in 2021 had a really good set of loan players. They had a Brennan Johnson from Forest. They had Morgan Rogers, who's now at Villa. Oh,
yeah, he's tearing it up there at Villa, isn't he?
They had so many good players, and I think it was that season where you started to just see how they look after players, how they improve players more than anything. And that's what we want. We want him to improve. If we can get him to improve, then fantastic. And I look forward to hopefully seeing what he can do in League One. So it'll be interesting. I think Cad needs this loan. Yeah. He needs this loan. does mean we are going to have to dip into the transfer market for another striker, potentially, because I don't think we got enough there. And that is a slight issue.
I think another front runner for Cads' signature as well on loan was Wrexham, but I think it's more ideal for, even though it would have been absolutely amazing to keep seeing him on Welcome to Wrexham in the next season of it. I do think that they'd probably be picking like Stephen Fletcher and Paul Mullen and all that above Cads, and that means that he'd only be a squad player.
It also could be a case of the location.
Yeah.
Lincoln's a lot closer.
Yes, yeah.
So if he's someone who's a little bit of a homebody, maybe being a bit closer so he can get in a car, drive.
It's very hilly as well in Lincoln, so he'd feel right at home compared to Sheffield. Like, hilly. My God.
Yeah, Lincoln is not where you want to go out on a night out, Truff.
No.
Done that.
It's not fun. It's not.
But yeah, Cadamartri to go out on loan. We'll see if that comes to anything this week. It's the final week of the transfer week this week, so it can be interesting to see what gets done, who goes where, and see what we can get done. Yeah. I'd like Sheffield Wednesday to be quiet on deadline day, but I don't think
they won't. We never are. It's never. Well, I mean, 3 years ago, we have been in like 4 years ago, yes. And also just on a little bit on Fuzier as well. Basically, Fuzier this season is having the experience that Cads had last season, where he just needs to be in that first team environment and understand how different it is to like an under 21s environment, and just get prepared, I guess, for more first team appearances. And then probably next season or the season afterwards, well, more than likely next season, will be his turn to go out on loan somewhere and get that experience under his belt. Yeah, because he looks like a really good prospect as well, I have to say.
Very good. He looked very good.
Yes.
So, more on transfer, but maybe players coming to us on loan. Ooh. This is from the start. Sheffield Wednesday keen to land international Premier League midfielder before deadline. Sheffield Wednesday are believed to be interested in trying to secure the deal to Northern Ireland international Shay Charles to Hillsborough. Als are known to be on the lookout for new arrivals as Danny Rule continued to build his squad in the 24-25 campaign. Charles, who is the older brother of Wednesday stopper Pierce, is said to have attracted their gaze. Having joined Southampton for a hefty fee last summer, it thought that alone is the only way the Saints will let the 20-year-old move at this point in time, and Wednesday will obviously have a bit of an advantage with other clubs being interested, having given that his brother is also on the out books. Charles played 38 times across all competition for Southampton last summer as he played a part in their promotion back to the Premier League. He has also become a regular for his national team since leaving Man City in search of more regular 13 opportunity. Now it seems he may do so again while he continues to develop. Go on then, Jack. What do you think about this?
I'm all for it. And you know what's interesting? Some people have compared him to Jude Bellingham, and this is a great. And you know what? Yes, it sounds really far-fetched at first when you say that, you know, comparing someone to a Real Madrid and England player that everything over the Euros was basically all about him with the England squad. But actually, if you look at how he plays, he's got a very similar demeanour. He's very, he's a very calming, confident presence on the ball. And I was watching his sort of highlights for Southampton yesterday, and he just looks so casual, but in the good way. Like in the, oh yeah, he's got this. Like there's no doubt. Like yeah, he's gonna win that ball back. Yeah, he's gonna skin this player and then make a great pass to the winger, something like that. And it's very much in the wheelhouse of how Jude Bellingham plays. But it's also a potential not backup, but like addition to the squad depth in that sort of Chalobah anchorman kind of role. And that's exactly what we need. And it's also nice that his brother plays for the club, because it means that we have a great chance, because of no doubt what Pierce will be saying to him about how great it is here.
I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
I think I saw their manager Southampton said he was down in Sheffield
basically,
to get it all
the
sorted.
manager confirmed,
he basically pretty much confirmed it. Some people will be like, is it confirmed? Why is it not confirmed yet? Lots of little details that might need to get ironed out. We don't know what they are, but they basically turned around. They had a pick of the club. He had a pick of the clubs. He picked Wednesday,
crossing the I's and dotting the T's, as you said to me the other day.
Yep. I think this would be really clever signing by Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
It's a loan. It makes sense. I do have my slight concern with some of our loans. They are not experience, which I think we need a little bit of, which I think we need to go into the market for to see if we can get like one of those experienced players who's just not going to get game time this season and get it sorted that way. But this makes a lot of sense. So for all you EAFC Ultimate Team players,
what everyone's been waiting for, the highlight of every single potential new signing of every single podcast episode.
So Charles is a 63 rated bronze, 61 pace, 47 shooting, 62 passing, 60 dribbling, 61 defense, 65 physical, and he 3-star skills and weak foot. So it's interesting. It will be very interesting to see what we do with this one because I really want this one to come off.
I really do as well.
Really want to come.
Yeah.
I did have a slight niggle in the back of my head though that was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go play with my brother at Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday just sent Pierce Charles out on loan. Damn it.
Yeah.
It's like we get something in last minute so he can go have his development sorted. It's like, are you using your flat, bro?
No.
Why? Right, thanks.
There you go. Enjoy.
Just one of those weird things that I had in my head, like going, would they bunk together? Would they stay in the same house, or would that be a problem? Yeah. It's like what they're saying. I think they've got a very close relationship anyway, so that would make a lot of sense and a lot easier for the Charles family then as well, because they don't have to go to different games and stuff. I always forget that Charles is from Manchester. I always forget that they're Manchester. They were Manchester
Man City Academy until
because they were both at Man City Academy. And I was watching something the other day with a Man City, I think it was a Man City keeper, and he just did a pass that was like one of the ones Charles did during pre-season. I'm like, their goalkeeper play like outfielder.
It's the Edison wheelhouse, isn't it? It's like that sort of keeper that and I'm all for it. I love goalkeepers like that. That just
same.
Are basically just deep line playmakers. Love them. Absolutely love them.
So more Sheffield Wednesday transfer news and more within the 20. The Dart has said that Sheffield Wednesday are hopeful to strike a loan deal for Brighton. Hove Albion striker here. Sorry about that. My brain went all a bit ticky, which ain't great. Sheffield Wednesday are hoping to further strengthen their squad and are in discussions with Brighton Hove Albion over a loan over teenage striker Mark Mahoney, the Stars led to believe. Danny Earl had made no secret of his desire to add to future firepower to his squad before the end of the transfer window on the 30th of August or on the day. Now, he's spoken about Premier League loans and what you want to try and get in the window. We're a week and a half remaining. Watching this, it'll be a week now, just 7 days. No, less. Less, isn't it? Yeah. The Stars have reason to believe that Brighton Hove Albion striker Mark, can you say it again?
Mark O'Mahony.
Thank you. Is a player they are hopeful of signing on a season-long loan. Switch that discussed over the potential loan deals are in the work. When they are interested, the Republic Island Youth International was first reported by The Athletic last week. So, having trialled with Wednesday City rival Sheffield United, the 19-year-old was signed by the South Coast club from the Legal Island club Cork City in January 2023. Forward most commonly used in playing as a modern number 9. He made 3 appearances off the bench in the Premier League last season and made the bench on 9 further occasions. Now, I will preface this with, it looks like Pompey right now are leading the race for his signature.
I mean, they're 20 minutes down the road, basically, from Pompey, so it's... Yeah,
but anything can change. What do you think?
I mean, as we were saying earlier, we need another striker option probably if Cads is going out on loan, and I think that we seem to be getting quite a good sort of respectful link, if in a way, with Brighton, with players, because they obviously know how well we've treated James Beadle, and I think they're probably going, right, okay, they're a really good club to send players to nurture and improve, and honestly, I think I kind of understand the getting in the young, talented players because it's not really something that we've had for age. Like we had the oldest average age in the championship of any squad last season, and I just think it's needed for.
Like I said, it could change, but as of about 20 minutes ago, they have turned around and said they have secured the passive medical for Pompey.
Right.
And they're just waiting for the cut. But that could change. Yeah. You never know. Something might change.
I think, to be honest, with where Wednesday is locationally in the country, I think this is where you're always going to struggle when you get loan deals from clubs down south because they will always prefer to go to other, the younger players will always prefer to go to clubs that are down south near their parent club rather than travel all the way across the other side of the country. I think it's actually why we've had quite good links with Man City and Man United and stuff in the past. Because we're literally close. 40 minutes
over the Pennines.
Yeah, literally.
You're on the snake path and you're
exactly.
You don't have to leave where you're living. You can stay where you are and stuff. It makes a lot of sense.
So I think maybe that's a little bit of an area that we need to kind of think about in terms of who we're going for. Because as well, I know that Danny has got links to Southampton and stuff, and that's possibly a good thing with getting Shea Charles in. But I think we need to look at maybe that side of logistics that kind of doesn't really get spoken about much. But yeah, I just think we just need options. We need talented options to kind of give us that extra little je ne sais quoi.
I don't think I was literally thinking if you actually look at the Prem, Northern clubs there isn't that many anymore.
No.
When you think about
bloody Southern softies, can't believe it. Shocking.
What? Man City, Forest, Liverpool, Newcastle, Man U, Leicester.
Yeah, but Leicester's
Wolves?
Midlands, so's Forest. So it's
so Wolves as well.
So that's the frustrating thing. There's the North is criminally unrepresented in the Premier League, underrepresented. Sorry, and it's just a real life reflection, isn't it? It's all Southern bias is creeping back into everything now, even in the Prem. I can't believe it. It's shambolic. But yeah, it's just we need more Northern representation.
Well, we will see what happens with this one, but if that is true, we're already moving on to new targets, I can imagine. So, this is coming from as well, about the latest injuries that we got, right? And we have got two.
Yes.
So, it's one of those things. The number of players Danny Rose had to choose from Sheffield Wednesday has swollen the news of positive injury updates on two players yet to make a competitive appearance this season. Akin Femero and Nathan Chalobah are back in full training after sustaining early season knocks and will continue to step back into the side sooner rather than later. Danny was asked about it. He said they are good. They are back in training. When asked of their condition, they have no injuries so far, and this is good again. This is our new challenge. I think our squad now have more players that want to play as a starter, but of course they need to show they are also ready as a starter. What do you think, Thufum?
I mean, well, for example, Chalobah just needs to get in that squad. That with how we're playing and how honestly, you said it live on your watch along. This system is crying out for a CDM. And Ingleson can't do both the box-to-box and the CDM role all on his own. No. It's just crying out for that CDM, and Chalobah needs to get in that side as soon as humanly possible. But then we need a sort of backup for him as well. We kind of forgot
about Akin as well.
Yeah.
We kind of forgot about Akin. Akin looked okay during pre-season.
Thing is, I sort of see Akin as the interchangeable defender with Bernard in a sense. Like they're very similar. Yeah. If you actually look at how they play, they're very similar players. And I'm quite glad, actually, because I remember when we signed Akin, I was really excited about this. And actually, Mark McGuinness was only brought in to cover Akin's long-term injury.
He get injured?
Yeah, he got injured. He got his ACL snapped or something in the second game. There was the Norwich. No, not Norwich. It was a home game.
And I just remember McGuinness is a now £10 million player.
That's mad. That's absolutely mad.
That's insane. That's insane. Parachute payments.
Yeah, love them. They totally don't totally ruin the balance of every single squad in the championships. Amazing, isn't it?
I will say something. People were asking about McNeil, where McNeil is. And I thought he might have been injured. But then so he pointed out to me that he was on the bench versus Sunderland.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, then so maybe not injured. Because he did have that
knock on his hip, didn't he?
Where he fell. So maybe that's just injured a little bit. I'd like to see McNeil start.
I think he showed that he can have that confidence to be a starter with how he played against Hull.
I'll be honest with you, I'd like to see McNeil start up top and possibly throw Lowe on the left wing.
Yeah.
Give Masaba a break and put Lowe on the left wing like he did it sometimes at Swansea, where he would cut inside. Because I like Masaba, he just still hasn't got that thinking to look up and just release it early.
I think at the minute Masaba needs a bit of a step back because he looks like he's trying too hard all the time, and that's where he's then making mistakes.
He's looking like how he did when he first started.
Yeah.
When he first started, he did this, where he was trying too hard.
He was trying way too hard all the time, and that's where his game fell apart a little bit. And then he relaxed and just sort of played his natural game within the system, and suddenly he was a world beater when he did that. And I think Masaba needs just a bit of a break just to recoup his sort of.
We did see a difference when Ugbo has come on.
Couple of definitely.
Games. Versus Hull, versus Leeds, there was an urgency about him. You can tell he's waiting to get going.
Definitely.
But yeah, it can be interesting. I think team versus Millwall will be fun.
Yeah.
To try and guess and figure it out, considering, especially if we've got new transfers in. The other thing is, if it's an international break, it gives anyone we bring in new time to settle down, get up to speed as well, which helps as well. Yeah. But yeah, I will be interested to see what we do with Akin and Chalobah. Like, Chalobah is the one I want in most, because we saw it versus Werder Bremen.
Shall we have a little guess as well about when this season's injury crisis will begin? Because undoubtedly...
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to.
Every sodding year.
Yes, it happened every year. And if it happened now, people can clip this to Jack on Twitter and going, it's your fault. Because I have not been involved with that again. I had that a lot of times last season.
It was just... are we ever going to figure that out? I wonder. I actually wonder what causes all of that every single season.
I generally think it's training pitches.
Yeah. Those things must be laced with concrete or something. Jesus.
Then again, can't really say that. I think most of our ones last year were game injuries.
Yeah.
I think they were contact injuries. So they're in games. So you can't really judge it if it's that. Now, I'd be interested to see what happens and if you can get them back. I
actually wonder, it was all game, like, contact injuries. I wonder if that's why Danny's told the whole team to bulk up a bit.
Maybe.
So they wouldn't be like twigs getting snapped.
Yeah.
Little skinny little weakling twigs just... Anyway, yes.
Will you give them 20, 30 minutes each if they're ready versus Grimby? In the
Definitely. Cup? I'd start
just
them.
to get them up
I'd
to speed?
start them, basically, against Grimsby. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that brings us nicely on to next matches. We are playing Grimby Town in the EFL Cup. I am doing
professional.
I am doing a watch along of said game on Tuesday night. So please come watch me at Puckshare 41, the channel. Grimby record so far is the same as ours, 3 points.
Nice.
They got a home record of 3 points and 0 away. Kind of know how that feels.
It's nice to know that we're equaling a points tally of a League Two side. That's really going to stoke the fires of all of these people that are panicking after 3 games, isn't it?
They've got 3 goals and 3 goals against. The last match was a 3-2 win versus Cheltenham. No, it wasn't. The last match was Notts County, and Notts County won that game, I believe. Let me just make sure I am right, because it was one of the weird... Was this the start of their, this was the start of their Thursday night football game, because of Sky. They got beat 4-1 by Notts County.
Oh, dear.
So,
well,
not good. So we got them in the Carabao Cup. Let's see what we do. I'll be interested to see what he does with this team. Does he do a little bit what he did versus Hull? If he does, I'd like to see a lot more of Olaf. I'd like to see Olaf starting again, getting more minutes, because I think there's a player there we could generally really use soon. And I think it's about getting them up to the pace of it. There've been a lot of people who spoke about Olaf who've been like, why are we not starting him? Why are we not starting him?
I think Olaf's getting a little bit of the
Polish.
Gassama treatment from last year, where he's just getting up to speed with the physicality aspects. And then, because there were a few times when he played against Plymouth where he was a bit like, oh my God, he'd get like strong-armed off the ball, and he was a bit like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
It was a bit getting strung up, but it's also, there was a bit of it where you could tell he's not there yet in decision making.
Yeah.
Because you see, go to make a cross, it's like, oh, do I put the cross in yet because they're not in, or do I wait for them to come into the box and get the cross in? I think it's part of the game that people don't think of when knowing when to put a cross in and a player made a run. Sometimes teams like it where the people in the box are already waiting. Some teams like it where they're coming in late.
They run on to the cross,
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I'll be interested what team he picks there and how we do there. I am in that thing. It's cup. You keep going in cup games. It's good to get players back fit and get in contention. Let's see, because I think cup games that right now are quite handy.
Yes,
for us, just to get everything back up to normal. Then at the weekend we have our first 3 p.m. kickoff of the season.
Oh my God! Finally,
we finally have a 3 p.m. kickoff versus Millwall. I'm right in saying this is away, aren't I?
I believe. Just check.
I believe it's at the Den. Yeah, it's at the Den. Yeah, Millwall away.
Millwall. The bloody Den.
So,
straight
Millwall have got 0 points. They've lost 2.
We normally do quite all right at the Den, actually.
We're not bad at the Den. Home record, lost 1. Away record, lost 1. I think they got a draw. They are more... No, they're on 3 points because they got a draw versus Hull because this hasn't updated. There we go. They're on the same points as us. They've had 5 goals... They go, but they conceded 7. And according to their last loss was a 4-3 loss versus Bristol City. But they got a 0-0 versus Hull. Now, I said when we spoke about Hull in the little live text channel bit on BBC, they were saying Millwall were very good from set pieces. Got to be careful of that. Got to be ever so careful of set pieces.
That's our Achilles heel at the minute.
I still don't think we are set with them. I'd like us to start making the most from our own set pieces because we are seeming to get the ball in. I will say something. If Bernard scored that goal versus Leeds, it would have been something special considering he wasn't looking where the header was going and he kind of headed it backwards.
He headed it with the back of his head, didn't he, or something?
But it wasn't even like it was I don't mean to. He meant to do it. Because you saw him look behind go, where's it gone?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I think you've got a situation. This is a good game for us to probably end on before the international break. See where we are. Let's kind of see what happens after this.
Yeah.
One. Because I'd be very interested to see what Danny picks of the team, what we do this week. Like I said, this week is going to be very busy for Sheffield Wednesday and everybody across the 92. Because everyone are going to be trying to finalise deals, get what they want. Maybe some Prem clubs are going to be trying to get players out on loan as soon as possible so they can bring players in. I hope we're busy. I hope we're busy because, like that, I still think we need 3 or 4 players.
Yeah.
But we need players out because we won't have enough players to register.
Yeah.
Some of them if we're careful. And we don't want to have a situation like we did last January with Gregory, where you have a player who got a chance to go and you don't let them take it. And I worry about that happening again.
Yeah.
And it just not causing a bit of unease, but just having that whole thing, you've got to play there that you could.
It's just something like hanging over you a little bit, I guess. Yeah.
I think it 24 hours after the transfer window done, I believe that you could have your squads ready to go, like squad lists. I think it's something like that. I could be wrong. But we'll have the who's in and who's out. And if you remember last season, it caused a lot of drama due to Marvin Johnson not being in.
Oh, I remember, yes. Yeah.
We had one squad place left, because we were apparently looking at like free agencies and stuff. And Marvin Johnson didn't get brought into that squad list. So let's see what happens and where we are. Like, remember, anyone under 21 is born before a certain time won't need to be registered. But for that being said, Bida will have to be registered because he's alone. I'm not 100% sure if Gassama counts this year or not. I think I read somewhere that he might not count, so he will have to be. And it kind of wants the thing. You look at the thing with Gassama. Is he somebody you say, hey, I'm going to bring someone with a bit more experience for your position and let you go out on loan for somewhere? There's that aspect that I don't think we thought of. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
I think he's just quite heavily in Danny's plans.
Yes.
But have you got anything else to say, Jack, before we wrap this one up?
Just basically, it's 3 games into the season. Please stop falling off a cliff with your, if you're out there thinking this is over, this is doom and gloom. It's 3 games into the season, a whole new system change, 10 new signings. Don't forget in 2015-16, where we finished in the playoff final, it took till November for that whole squad to actually start playing properly together. Have a bit, I understand that, all of these apps like TikTok and bloody stuff like that has just ruined people's long-term attention spans and long-term patience, and everybody sort of wants things here and now and instantly like that. But it doesn't really, it doesn't work like that. No matter how modern the game now is, no matter how much time has passed in everybody's thinking of like that, it still is exactly the same, where a team needs to gel, a team needs to get used to the way of playing, the way of training their new teammates. Just have a bit of patience, because this squad is not anywhere near a relegation squad, a relegation quality squad. It will come good. They just need to get used to the way of playing that Danny wants them to play. And there we go. That's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, I think let's see where we are properly in about 10 to 15 games.
You mean like November time? Oh my God. God.
Like November time. Let's just see where we are.
Yeah.
And let's not. I get people have hyped up this season already with everything. A lot of the media have hyped it up. A lot of our fan base has hyped it up. I spoke to a lot of Sunderland fans and Leeds fans after both games. They said, you'll come good. You can see there's what you're trying to. It's just not there yet. And even they said it's a long season. We're 3 games in to a 46-game season. They're going to be up. They're going to be downs. At the end of the day, we started better than last season. We had 3 points. We didn't have 3 points by this point. Nope. I think by this point, we were going into the international break and we picked up a point versus Leeds going in September. Let's see where we are. Let's see what happens on the transfer window, and hopefully we can get those loans in that'll get us over the line a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's see if we can get a win versus Millwall.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to become a member and watch that draft video to help to become part of it. It'll be good to have you all in it if you want to try and compete against us 3 and then anyone else who does it in the membership. I think it'll be good fun. Anyway, we will speak to you in the next one. See ya.
See you later.